The blooming onion is a masterpiece of nutritional irresponsibility and visual engineering. Invented by Outback Steakhouse in 1988, removing it would trigger an absolute customer revolt. A single, colossal onion is precisely sliced into over 100 individual petals while the core remains intact. It is aggressively battered and plunged into a deep fryer until it violently blooms open into a golden, greasy flour. The physiological hook is terrifying. Before touching the dipping sauce, this onion packs a staggering 1,900 calories. Add the sauce, and you stare down a 2,100-calorie appetizer. Critics universally condemn it as clinically excessive and reckless, yet 40 million are consumed annually. Why? Because the tactical design of those crispy, pull-apart petals makes it biologically impossible to stop eating once started. It is a perfectly executed, highly profitable trap of salt, fat, and crunch. We assume onion rings are a piece of traditional culinary heritage, but their origin is entirely manufactured. They are the direct child of corporate marketing. The first published recipe did not appear in a prestigious cookbook, but as a calculated tactic in a 1933 advertisement designed purely to sell Crisco cooking oil. This industrial creation was engineered strictly for mass consumption, and the strategy worked flawlessly. In 1975, Burger King introduced them nationally, officially igniting a relentless war against the French fry for menu supremacy. Today, the debate between fries and rings generates more aggressive passion at fast food drive-thrus than actual political discourse. Neither side will ever surrender, proving that brilliant marketing successfully brainwashed consumers into adopting a deep-fried commercial as a core cultural identity. French onion soup is the ultimate culinary bait-and-switch. It hooks diners with a luxurious visual, a crouton buried under a blistered blanket of melted Gruyere. People order it strictly for that gooey cheese pull, but the cheese is merely a distraction. The true soul lies at the bottom, where most restaurants shamelessly lie to you. Authentic soup demands onions slowly caramelized for a grueling hour until they transform into a rich, dark amber jam. Instead, lazy kitchens rush the process in 10 minutes, leaving them sharp and pale. They use a heavy crown of dairy to hide their shortcut, hoping you will never realize that the actual point of the dish has been completely disrespected. Caramelized onions are the subject of the most persistent, widespread lie in modern cooking content. Open almost any recipe, and it will confidently instruct you to caramelize onions in 5 to 10 minutes. This is a biological and chemical impossibility. In 2012, a New York Times food writer finally exposed this massive culinary deception, sparking a massive wave of responses from millions of home cooks who truly believed their kitchen failures were their own fault. They were not doing anything wrong. The recipes were aggressively lying to them. True caramelization cannot be rushed or hacked by simply cranking up the heat. It is an unyielding law of nature that strictly demands 40 to 60 minutes of painfully slow cooking. You must wait for the cellular structure to fully break down and the natural sugars to slowly concentrate into a deep, sweet, mahogany jam. Anything less is just a sweaty, burned onion. Pickled red onions are the ultimate victim of modern social media engineering. While they require only 4 simple ingredients, onion, vinegar, salt, and sugar, and a mere 30 minutes to prepare, their explosive dominance in the 2010s had absolutely nothing to do with culinary brilliance. They spread like a digital virus across menus for one cynical reason: their shocking neon pink aesthetic. When the farm-to-table trend collided with Instagram food photography, chefs quickly realized that a bright magenta garnish makes a bland avocado toast or a dull grain bowl pop on a smartphone screen. Food that photographs beautifully spreads exponentially faster than food that just tastes good. They are a condiment, weaponized for visual engagement. Onion dip perfectly exposes the absurd power of modern convenience. Born in 1954, when an anonymous cook dumped a Lipton soup packet into sour cream, it became an unwritten cultural law. Arriving at an American Super Bowl party without it is practically an insult. Yet, the ultimate paradox lies in the grocery aisles. Supermarkets sell millions of pre-made plastic tubs annually to consumers willing to pay a premium for a bland industrial product. They eagerly buy the illusion of convenience, ignoring the fact that creating the homemade version takes exactly 30 seconds and costs significantly less. We have been completely conditioned to purchase shortcuts, even when the actual effort required is zero. Grilled onion slabs are the most tragically ignored masterpiece of American barbecue. While everyone fixates on the meat, these thick-cut titans sit quietly over direct charcoal heat, charring on the outside while collapsing into a rich, savory sweetness inside. They require zero preparation beyond a heavy pinch of salt and 10 minutes on the grates. They cost practically nothing to make, yet they miraculously elevate the flavor profile of any smoked brisket or steak they touch. Despite this, they remain a forgotten afterthought. Elite pitmasters know this secret, but they refuse to share it. Onion jam is a masterclass in the raw power of culinary patience. It takes one of the cheapest ingredients on earth and forces it through a grueling, beautiful metamorphosis. By slowly reducing onions with sugar, vinegar, and wine, the humble bulb is destroyed and resurrected as a dark, glossy, intensely savory preserve. Found elevating gourmet burgers or high-end cheese boards, it adds a complex dimension no standard condiment can replicate. Creating this sticky luxury requires a chef to apply the exact same rigorous, unyielding patience that a master winemaker applies to fermenting grapes. The final masterpiece bears absolutely no resemblance to the pungent root it started as. Stuffed onions represent a bizarre and brilliant phenomenon in human culinary evolution. Across the globe, vastly different cultures that had absolutely zero contact, from the ancient coasts of Greece to the deserts of the Middle East and the modern kitchens of America, arrived at the exact same conclusion. They independently realized that by simply hollowing out the center, they could engineer a perfect, naturally edible container. Whether it is packed with rice and herbs, rich lamb and pine nuts, or heavy ground beef, the core technique is universally identical. It proves that this masterpiece of edible engineering was born not from cultural exchange, but from sheer human ingenuity. The onion bhaji is not merely an appetizer, it is a masterclass in culinary invasion. Originating in South Asia as a deep-fried fritter of thinly sliced onions, chickpea flour, and cumin, it arrived in Britain alongside immigrants during the 1950s. Within a single generation, this fiercely spiced snack completely swallowed British food culture. It embedded itself so deeply into the national identity that it effortlessly outsells every other starter on menus across the United Kingdom. Today, a Friday night curry without a plate of onion bhaji is considered an absolute cultural offense. It is a powerful testament to how a humble street food can cross oceans, conquer an empire's palate, and successfully establish an unbreakable, mandatory weekly ritual for millions of people. Long before the world obsessed over Italian pizza, there was the pissaladiere. This ancient French flatbread from the coastal city of Nice is a masterpiece of unyielding culinary discipline. It is entirely defined by a thick, jam-like layer of deeply caramelized onions, aggressively accented with black olives and fermented anchovies. The true soul of this dish is the absolute strictness it demands. Crafting a genuine pissaladiere requires the agonizing 4-5-minute process of slow cooking the onions until they finally surrender into a dark, intensely savory paste. There are absolutely no shortcuts allowed. If a lazy chef attempts to rush this step, the locals of Nice will instantly identify the fraud and ruthlessly expose the culinary treason. It stands as a powerful, edible reminder that authentic heritage cannot be rushed or mass-produced. It must be patiently and painfully earned. The global journey of the humble onion serves as a profound mirror for the modern human condition, revealing a stark and uncomfortable truth about how we value time, authenticity, and effort. The overarching message, echoing through the grease of the blooming onion, the manufactured history of the onion ring, and the viral neon pink vanity of the pickled red onion, is that our society has become terrifyingly addicted to the illusion of the shortcut. We have built an entire culture around hacking the process. We eagerly purchase plastic tubs of pre-made dip to save 30 seconds, and we confidently lie to ourselves that the deep, complex transformation of caramelization can be achieved in 5 minutes simply by turning up the heat. We prioritize immediate visual engagement and highly engineered, addictive consumption over the quiet, unglamorous reality of actual substance. The food industry's relentless drive for hyper-efficiency and aesthetic manipulation has convinced us that speed and appearance are adequate substitutes for authentic depth. From a personal viewpoint, this culinary deception directly reflects the intense psychological landscape of our modern professional and creative lives. We are operating in a blooming onion era, where we are constantly pressured to engineer our output for maximum, instant validation, crafting explosive, high-volume work that is impossible to scroll past but ultimately leaves us creatively malnourished. We rush our own personal development, attempting to fake the long, slow caramelization of our skills with 5-minute digital hacks and viral aesthetics. But true mastery, whether it is in the kitchen or in the creation of enduring art, fiercely rejects the shortcut. The agonizing 45-minute discipline required for a genuine pissaladière or the winemaker's patience demanded by a rich onion jam proves that profound transformation cannot be rushed. Greatness requires you to sit in the heat, endure the slow breakdown of your initial state, and allow time to concentrate your true value. The concrete solution to surviving this culture of instant gratification is to consciously architect a dual-paced existence, explicitly balancing necessary commercial survival with uncompromising, long-term craft. In a world that demands rapid-fire consumption, generating a vast daily volume of highly optimized, short-form sales scripts is often the necessary engine to maintain baseline momentum and feed the algorithm. However, to build an identity that outlasts the fragile, fleeting nature of digital trends, you must fiercely protect the time required for deep, meticulous execution. You must actively choose to build your own pissaladière, a project that refuses to be rushed. Channel your energy into the rigorous, agonizing development of complex narrative structures, perfecting the precise timing of a cinematic match cut, or layering the immersive, textural details of an ASMR soundscape. Dedicate yourself to crafting a highly specific, deeply resonant world, perhaps a cozy, atmospheric survival story unfolding in a desolate subway that requires profound patience to bring to life. By deliberately committing to this slow, unyielding process alongside your high-speed output, you stop being a product of cheap marketing and transform yourself into an authentic, enduring force. You learn the ultimate lesson of the onion. The most unforgettable, complex flavors of your life will only emerge when you finally stop trying to beat the clock.